to move, I mean, I just know since August,
No,
we're gonna
I,
get a letter and something,
right, I
you know.
know. Yes,
So now we're gonna be hitting frozen ground and,
yeah.
Actually, it's
Do you
easy.
mind if I?
No, I got
So, the street department kind of wanted to wait for it to get a little cold,
yeah,
because in order to cut that dirt, it might be a little easier if it is a little
Absolutely.
bit of frost,
Yep.
to kind of keep the angles what they want,
For sure.
so. Joe's goal was very soon, I don't wanna say a date, but they were out there last week and this week,
yeah.
holing and measuring, so.
Okay,
mm.
okay. Alright.
Brian commented to me about, would like to see something get started this fall, but if we open it up and freeze it, we're,
Well, I think the point is that we don't want to go any further than
yeah, I
what the
understand
min,
that.
right.
But if, I mean, so it's a different part of the question, he'd like to see something get done this fall.
Which, what we're intending to do, and the caution that Joe is using to make sure that the cover remains on the utilities means that we're not going to be opening anything up.
We
To
will not be
freezing.
opening it up this fall.
No, opening
deep enough to
deep
cause a
enough to
problem.
cause a problem, to cause a freezing problem.
Okay.
Okay.
He'll cut the dirt back, and then if it freezes a little bit, it'll hold that shape better for him.
I think the fear is, just judging how long this
Right.
has taken, now we're gonna approach spring and then we are gonna
Yeah.
have the water all over and be back to, you know, another year of, and now it's too wet to get back, so we're just hoping that.
So will you report back to Brian?
I sure will report back to
Okay.
Brian. So we don't have any sort of time, I mean, soon, within the
Yeah, I
month.
would,
I'll leave it to Melissa. But
I don't wanna tell you, I'll have it to you by next week, but
End of the month? you think,
yes,
maybe?
by the end of the month.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
You do.
Okay.
So a follow-up question, we have property owners have all signed? our
No, we haven't
letter?
received any
That's
yet.
okay, well, that's what's gonna be in the letter.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because we have the draft easement, but to Melissa's point, it says X feet on the rear part of
Oh, I
the
gotcha.
property.
Right.
And the question is it X or is it Y, right?
Fill in the blank.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what Joe's figuring out, how far he would be able to taper it, so we know how far the yard goes.
Okay.
Like I said, I was saying her mission.
Okay, does anybody else in the
It's like a
audience
chicken
want to
egg.
move forward? Old business for the council action, that would be approval of the minutes of November 26th.
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion, roll call.
Krejci,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Sweet.
Okay, this is the last meeting of the year, and so, as far as we know, everything has been taken care of, that's the only old business. There's things ongoing, but, anyway, we do need a motion and a second to adjourn signing die.
Motion, go ahead. Motion to adjourn, so however you wanna say it.
And I'll second it.
Gotcha.
It's big line, eh?
However you wanna say it.
Roll call.
Krejci,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Now, reorganization of the council, oath of office for re-elected council members are listed there. Ideas, Rappel and Nagel, you have already been sworn in your first term. Guess there's some paperwork that could.
Yeah, I think you know, oath of offices, so if you'll just sign those and have them notarized, then that'll be good.
Do it.
I'm a noter.
Wonderful. There's one. You signed it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, now we're in the new council, we'll have roll call again.
Roll call. Stuart Krejci,
Yes.
Shane Sweet,
Yes.
Ryan Ideas,
Yes.
Chris Rappel,
Yes.
Patrick Nagel,
Yes.
Carl Ward.
Okay, item 2, election of president of the council. Other nominations.
I will go ahead and make a nomination for Stuart Craigie. I'll second.
Okay,
Do you accept?
I will.
okay.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Motion been seconded. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Krejci.
Yes.
Okay, appointments by the mayor for officials and city council approval. 3A, utility general manager as recommended by the Board of Public Works. Basically the same members.
This is for
recommended
Ryan.
him.
Yes, yep.
So, a motion on appointing utility general manager Ryan Hurst.
I would make that motion.
I'll second that.
Questions? Roll call.
Ideas,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Fire chief, Woodley Hall is recommended by the Wahoo Fire Volunteer Fire Department. Chris, you represent them, and that's been a recommendation.
Yeah, it was voted on by the membership at the November meeting, yes,
Okay,
yes.
there a motion to appoint our fire chief.
I'll make the motion as a recommendation.
I'll second that.
For a second?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Roll call on fire chief.
Grapple,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci.
Yes.
Okay, C3, street superintendent pursuant to County Highway and State, City Street Superintendents Act for the state of Nebraska. That would be Joe Wynn.
I'll make the motion to approve.
And I'll second that.
Okay,
Okay.
roll call.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Grapple.
Yes.
City engineer, that's gonna be eventually changing, right?
No. Street superintendent, we have had Steve Parr in the past, but with Joe getting his certification,
That's all that
That's-
changed.
right, so we would still
Okay.
have J.O. as our city engineer, if
Okay.
that's,
Yeah, okay. Retain J.O.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second? Somebody call?
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Ideas,
Yes.
Krejci,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Okay, 4 mayor's appointments of, to the Board of Public Works. Ryan, you haven't heard anybody that's not wanting to?
Right, yeah, no one on the board has said, this, the members that are up for reappointment have communicated they didn't want to stay on, so, yeah, and I-
Retain the current board.
Good, not getting demoted. Motion to approve. Second.
Okay.
and even if they would have said they wanted off, I would.
It's not that easy.
Okay, approval of the appointment to the Board of Works, roll call?
Krejci,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Okay, number 5, consideration of the mayor's appointments to the council. Council committees, such.
I have those here.
there's no change.
No change. Motion to approve. Second.
Who seconded, I'm sorry.
Right.
Thank you.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Krejci,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Okay, standing committees, took care of that. Special committees, we do have special committees of the, one of them at least for the facility. City
Facility.
Is that listed?
We have Economic Development Advisory Board and Building and Grounds. Please do.
Yeah. Which is the facility committee.
Building and grounds, yes.
Yes.
Well, I
I
wonder
mean, they're
if
serving
Jerry,
both positions, and
They're overseeing only the assets that are in Walden Public Buildings and Grounds,
Right,
okay.
there is
which
a,
is not necessarily all assets.
This list is missing the, committee that we established last year to discuss, like,
Cemetery.
City Hall,
Yeah,
and those
city
things.
facility,
City facilities.
yeah.
And wasn't there one for like the cemetery?
The cemetery was added to the street department,
That's
it's
okay.
the same.
So
Motion
you
to
want to
approve.
approve the special committees with the addition of the facility committee?
That's
Is
what I
that what
wanted
you think?
to, should officially.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call on the special committee?
Creachy,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Number 6, appointment to the Board of Health, Dr. Lawrence Newburn has been, and it's not indicated anything different than I've last talked to him. So approval of the appointment to the Board of Health.
I'll make the motion to.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Rappel,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Number 7, approval of the city attorney's retainer agreement.
Motion to approve. I also want to say, I think you've given me some information on a lot of work done and bills paid, and I think we're getting good value. Thank you for your time, and the bills are pretty small, comparatively speaking. I'm not asking to make them bigger.
As long as we stay out of trouble, we'll stay small, right?
Yeah. I'll second Stuart's motion.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call and approval of the retainer of the city attorney.
Creachy,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Number 8, designate method by which reasonable advance published notice of time and place of each meeting of the council is to be given by the clerk, establishing the agenda deadlines. I know a lot of people are trying to think what we're doing without a paper. As far as public notices, I don't know if anybody's officially dropped anybody off, but I think they're struggling.
So the requirement is that it's a paper of general circulation, which is determined by the number of subscriptions within the area, and they're still actually well above the number before they would no longer be considered a paper of general circulation.
That's
So
that
we have a
question.
little bit of
Yeah.
time.
Legal notices, obituaries, sports, that's what people are.
That's what they're reading for, yeah.
Well, and we also, the advance published notice is, we post the agenda, Christine posts it at First Bank, at the post office, at City Hall, and it's posted on the city's website. Our agenda deadline has been the Thursday at 5 o'clock prior to Tuesday's meeting.
And that really hasn't changed for 50 years,
No.
so. Nothing wrong with that. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Creachy,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Number 9, designation of depository for the city of Wahoo, designation of authorized signatures on accounts held by the city of Wahoo, process for approval of claims presented to the city council for payment. That's been one change on the consent agenda, has been the bills, and I think that's probably and I have to sign now instead of my signature being stamped. And so I have the opportunity, usually it's the next day, to check the dollar amounts and review, and before I sign them, and then I sign the document stating that I've been reviewed.
Currently, City of Wahoo funds are split between, the city funds are held in Wahoo State Bank, majority of the utility funds are held at First Bank. Authorized signers for the city are Jerry, me, Christina, and Buffy. And it requires 2 signatures on all withdrawals, even wire transfers require 2 signatures.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Creachy,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
No department head reports, consent agenda.
there's,
the
the
bond.
A lot of
payments-
bond payments and we bought an ambulance.
Right, the bond payments all are, those are actually, except for one, they are wire transfers that go out on December 16th, but we need to record them through our accounts payable system. The one other payment we made was to BOK Financial, and that was last month, and that is, there was one bond that is handled by an agent, paying agent. On the ambulance, it's $346,000 approximately, and all but the $2,500 deductible that we have on that was covered by insurance, so. And that has been received and been put in service, so it is fully insured and, being used.
So then we get insurance already, or we pay for this and get insurance? We get reimbursed? Because this says.
We received, right, we will make this purchase, we have already received $210,500 as a advance payment. I submitted this, invoice to Warren. They sent me a statement of loss, so I've signed up on that statement of loss, and a check is actually on its way for the balance of that amount, so. Yeah, it is a lot of money, but
It's normal, actually.
yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call on consent agenda.
Creachy,
Yes.
Raffle,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Public hearing and
Can I wanna make a point, just so you, Stuart, particularly for you, and on the bond payments that we make, there are some payments that because the way that the bonds have sort of been tied together, city and utility bonds, it's easier for the city to be the paying agent versus the utility paying, because some of them, the way some of them are tied together, and anytime we pay a bond for the utilities, I be sure that we get reimbursed, so. just-
Well, I'm more concerned if we didn't pay a bond payment, and there's no way that, well, this is just saying that we actually did it. If we didn't, then our rating would go down.
Yeah, if we didn't,
So, I don't know how you can, how much. I understand.
that is something that the auditors look at to make sure that we have made payments in a timely fashion.
And you have auditors now.
We do have auditors in this.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the consent?
Which might be part of the reason why claims got put in there for.
No other questions, roll call.
But we already did roll call for the consent
Yeah.
agenda.
We're good.
We did.
We're okay.
Oh, already, you came in
Yeah,
after
after the
that.
fact, right, yeah.
I knew it would happen, something happened. Okay, public hearings. Public hearing on the 2025 budget by the Board of Public Works. Consideration of action for approval as recommended by the Board of Public Works at the November 30th meeting. Brian?
Yeah. Mayor Johnson, members of the council, you guys have in your packet our,
She has it up here. if you
oh,
want
she
it.
has it up there, okay.
If
And then
you want.
also, yep, so that's included in your information on our budget report. 2025, I think is gonna be a good year for Wahoo Utilities. It's another action-packed year. We have really made a lot of progress, I think, in the 5 years I've been here, towards these projects we're doing, and we are in the midst of those projects. We positioned ourselves perfectly to maximize the amount of federal dollars that came out of those infrastructure deals, but now we're in the fun parts and thinking about doing it, the hard parts in doing it. So as you can see and feel around downtown Wahoo, right, we are in the middle of a huge $2 million upgrade to our downtown water system. So you'll see in our budget we're carrying over that project and a lot of other projects. You know, the board, we went into a lot of depth on this budget last month, and so I guess if there's things that you guys want me to point out specifically into some of our methodology for calculating, let me know. But overall, you can see where we are in the budget operationally or for our customers. Some of those impacts of, we did approve, if you remember, rate increase in 24 and 25, so some of our revenues are gonna be showing that rate increase going into effect in February, and we'll do another rate study in 25 to see if we need to do a rate increase in 26 and 27. I would say, based on what I'm seeing in our sanitary sewer operating expenses and projects, I would suspect we need a rate increase in sanitary sewer in 26. I can kind of foresee that without doing a whole lot of deep diving just on where we're at. Some good news, I think, if you look at this budget, the water department obviously is in the red a little bit. All of our budgets tend to start off in the red. But I would say, based on our revenues and expenses, and even with the capital projects, is gonna do pretty good and should smooth out. Now, I would expect a rate increase still coming in 26, but I'm hopeful that doesn't need to be such a painful rate increase. One other big project I want to point out in the electric, water, and gas departments is that West Loop we've been talking about for seemingly 3 years. Remember, that was a multi-step project. We started out kind of just the concept, and we spent a lot of money acquiring easements along the entire pathway. That took us a year to do. That was a lot of fun. And so once we worked with those property owners and got through that, we now have been in the design phase here in 24. We're just about done with that design phase and should get this out for bid here in 25 and maybe potentially start construction in 25. That's our goal. The funding of that project is going to be some traditional bonding on the electric. We did miss out on a grant. We had applied for a grid resiliency grant through Department of Environment and Energy. I don't feel like I want to wait for another grant cycle to wait. You know what? This is a pretty critical to me line that feeds our hospital and the southern part of Wahoo. And if we can, I just don't want to risk another year. And as you guys know, with construction costs, that's going to increase. I just want to go ahead and pull the trigger and get this project going. So we are going to utilize some traditional bonding on the electric and gas and water. We're hoping to utilize the remaining funds of the SRF, that state revolving fund that we're paying with our downtown water project. So one other big project the board approved was kind of an amendment to this downtown water project. You guys remember the large lead and copper, or the lead service line inventory we did? We finished that. We didn't have a lot of lead, two or three lead lines, true lead lines that we discovered. However, we have a lot of what's called galvanized required replacement. We have secured some funding to replace. That's somewhere around 100 and some lines that we will replace, and we will replace that from main to inside the house. Even though we don't own a portion of that, we feel the grant forgiveness of that portion of it justifies us replacing the customer-owned side. It's also something that the EPA is going to say we have to replace it even if we don't own it. We could push that cost onto the homeowner, but I feel because we have a grant that's offsetting those costs, the best thing to do, and the board's decision was to go ahead and absorb those costs as an amendment to our Board of Public Works policy manual, a decision they made last year. So, Ryan and Chris, anything I'm forgetting here that you think we should pass on to City Council on our budget next year?
Other than that, we did speak on some of the capital improvement projects that the utilities department's really staying on top and has a good forecast plan. So I think that some of those costs are reflected in the budget as well.
And I will say, like, we are in a phase, what I would say is we're in a growth pattern for Wahoo, but we're also in an improvement time where it's time to make those reinvestments. I'm hoping we can transition over the next 3 years out of these big projects into a time of stabilization, hopefully some rate stabilization and some smaller, more precise, more acute projects to improve around our water distribution system specifically, and we can start the process of debt payment, right? And so we're going to have these ebbs and flows throughout a utility, and we want to try and keep all three legs of that stool, right? We want to make sure it's safe, we want to make sure it's reliable, and we want to make sure it's affordable. And so that affordability aspect has we always got to keep that in mind for our customers. So, I think Wahoo Utilities has been tremendous on our rates, and if you see every time we do these rate studies, we're beating most of our peers. I'd say we're where we need to be on the water, kind of right in the middle of the road now. And as you can see, we're using that, putting that money to good use. So, yeah.
Okay, as in my practice, have an explanation of it and then make sure the public know that it's a public hearing. And I doubt there's anybody from the public here that's going to comment too deeply into it. Are there any comments from the public? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call.
Crapple,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes. And now, what's the council's discussion or desire?
It's my recommendation that we accept.
I was just gonna ask for one thing. After the downtown?
Yeah.
For any other future projects, do you like have an idea in the area of town where the oldest water mains that would be the ones that you start looking to
Sure.
target next?
Mhm.
And, 5-10 years down the road?
Yeah, it's a good question, Patrick. I would say it would be, we have a lot of those 3-inch water mains still going between North Broadway and North Linden that kind of, and Maple Street. That would be probably a targeted area. There's also maybe a 10-inch main. It's not, it was built in the 1950s. It's a fairly good sized main along that, I'm sorry, my mind is not there, over by Louis Woodtipka's building. What street is that?
Locust.
Locust Street. There's a 10-inch main kind of Locust back there.
That's a pretty big main feed there.
That feeds through there, yeah, and it was built originally actually from that well to get to the downtown. There used to be a standpipe in downtown. And so, that main's had some breaks on it. That'd be another one we'd kind of get to. When I talk about precise, maybe look and see what kind of state it is in. I don't foresee another $4 million, $5 million project on the horizon. And I don't think we can afford another 4 or 5 with the only caveat I'll put on that, if there was a major industry or major population growth that or an area that we wanted to serve that justified that kind of investment, or we saw a return on investment. But I don't see another big, like what we're doing now, these 33 blocks, I don't think we'll see that again in the next decade. So
I was wondering.
yeah, that's a good
Make
question.
sure, I don't know what like the rest of the towns,
Mhm.
if you have an idea where that age and shape some of that infrastructure.
Yeah, and some of that will make itself apparent with main break data, right? And that's why we're doing Orange Street, because of the main break data. We track it, and that's why that area over there is kind of what pops in my brain right now. And we did a master plan in 2020. We'll reevaluate the system in 2030, and that's my goal as general manager. Every 10 years, let's take another look at this master plan. What should be our next big steps? And what we've been checking off of that list was everything we've seen in 2020. And so 2030 will come along, and we'll have a new list to start with.
Provide a list for
Mhm.
direction.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you.
Good information, thanks.
I'll second Chris's one.
Roll call.
Crapple,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Number 2, public hearing on redevelopment agreement with Wilmer Heights Daycare, as filed by JEO Building Company. Consideration of resolution to approve the plan amendment and redevelopment contract as presented. It's yours.
Good evening, Mayor Johnson, City Council, Kevin Anderson here, and Christina's going to pull up a presentation, which you've already heard, acting as the Community Development Authority. I was prepared to kind of go through this again for the benefit of the attending public, but if it pleases the council, maybe I just get to the new stuff.
That's my thing.
Okay. Christina, like the last 4 or 5 slides, I've got some aerials, so, layouts, elevations, get traffic analysis, and okay, right here. Because when we last spoke, and this again was echoed by the Planning Commission, some questions on circulation, ingress, egress to the site as proposed here. So what I did is I pulled examples. We've got the Lincoln-based daycare provider. They've got 4 facilities in Lincoln. So we just took a look at how they're laid out within their 4 sites across the city of Lincoln, and how they're treating circulation, parking, drop-off, and that sort of thing. So again, just add some color commentary. Planning Commission echoed the same questions, albeit at the time they admitted that the agenda item in front of them, being the redevelopment agreement, wasn't necessarily the right mechanism to enforce anything related to that. But again, just to provide the background and color commentary on how this functions for current consideration or for future consideration and questions. Here is one of their facilities, listed capacity of 120 children in here. This is a multi-tenant building, 3 tenants including the daycare center, which as you can tell is on the southern portion, southern third of the building. So they do have a parking lot shared amongst those users with 2 ingress egress, but you know, we've got a bit of a higher capacity that functions in here. And I bring this up in that, you know, when we presented the site plan to our user and we've discussed this with our user, they say that, you know, they stated they don't have issues with their Lincoln facilities. So, you know, I haven't been out there during their peak hours or anything like that. I have visited the sites, but not during their peak drop-off pickup hours. So can't personally attest to that, other than they tell us things are working really well with them. So here's one where you've got a shared access. So the next one, Christina. So this is a standalone. The tan roofed area with the playground is their facility there. So off of a major thoroughway where you do have one access being right in, right out for southbound traffic.
Can you compare that parking lot size with what you're proposing?
Oh geez, we can count them out real quick. So this is a 80 capacity of 80. And you know, on that lot there, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we say? 20 to 25 stalls we think are in there.
But it's basically a single drive in.
Yeah. So that's the highlight.
Right.
And they're sharing that single drive with some of those other users as well. And so I think that was some of the primary concern of our proposed layout of that single ingress egress into the parking lot. And again, we're confident that works because you know, we've overbuilt parking by a small handful of stalls, and the fact that, again, you know, we've got a bit of a neck of which to hold traffic, and the fact that they are pull-in stalls, you know, any held queuing should be within the stalls themselves and shouldn't spill out into the right-of-way, in the sense of, again, you know, peak hours being stretched over 2 hours and drop off for up to 100 kids over those 2 hours. You know, the parking lot capacity is adequate to facilitate that kind of circulation. Okay, so go on to the next one. A large facility here, kind of a wonky. That stub road there coming in from the north was built previously to the subdivision and construction of the building here. So you see it's just kind of a wonky access there from the north, but the primary access being from the south there. That's a 140 capacity. I think there's about 30 parking stalls in theirs. I believe ours is 24 stalls as an example. So again, it does have a you know, 2 ingress egress drive through, but you know, and I guess you can see some tire wear of where, you know, people are kind of utilizing that drive through. That is a very large facility there, 40 kids. So there, Christina. And again, another large one. This is their newest one, 120 of capacity. Again, we've got 2 ingress egress here. It is a awkward layout in terms of how those go in and out, but a much larger facility. So again, some of these have 1, most have 2, but most are of higher capacity. And I just wanted to kind of show some of these layouts for our users other examples for consideration when we do it. That was kind of the update, largely because Planning Commission raised the same question as discussed here at City Council.
Okay. Public is absent, so we'll ask for a motion for the closing of the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, closing the hearing.
Apple,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Okay. Consideration of action, resolution to approve or not approve.
There's a couple steps.
Yeah, we have to approve the redevelopment plan amendment, and you have to approve the redevelopment agreement,
Okay.
and then you need to convene as a CDA, and as the CDA officially enter into the redevelopment.
What is the resolution we're approving? I mean, as far as, what is this change?
On 2A, take them one at a time.
This one is what you approved as the CDA, but now you're reviewing it. It's gone through you as the CDA and the planning commission, and they approved it, and now you as the city council are approving it.
Because you didn't include this particular portion of the project in the prior redevelopment plan.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, okay.
We've approved it as a different group.
The
We're
redevelopment
pretty
plan
abstract.
Well, I was a
amendment.
little, that's why I'm a
Amen.
little confused.
So we need an action on each one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're on 2A.
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 I would make a motion to approve a resolution.
Second.
Questions? Roll call.
Rachel,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
2B, approval of resolution 24-23.
Yeah, this is for the redevelopment agreement. This is the official agreement that a redeveloper will sign. And you're authorizing the CDA to enter into that agreement.
Motion to approve the full. I'll second
Roll call.
Rachel,
that. Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
2C, convene as the CDA Community Development Agency. We'll move into that. Do we need a motion to convene that?
No, you as mayor.
Okay. Need a motion on 2C to convene.
You can do that.
You just do that.
You
Okay, I can do
Just
that.
make that
Okay.
happen.
Okay. So
You just have to
2B,
formally go into it and then formally come out of it.
Oh,
You as the
okay.
mayor do that.
I got that authority. Oh, got a little bit of authority. 2D, approve resolution 2424, approving the redevelopment agreement for Wilmer Heights daycare.
And tax increment financing, right? That's a loaded motion.
It is, there's a little in there.
Motion to approve?
I will second that motion.
Okay, roll call?
Rachel,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Grapple,
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to remind you as a council and anyone who's listening that you've approved the use of TIF, but that doesn't mean we write out a check and give it to them. They spend the money, they submit their expenses. We will come back to you for you to accept those expenses officially to make sure they're in line with what you just said they could use them for.
Okay.
And then following that, then as the taxes come in, the TIF money comes to the city, we issue them the checks.
Good reminder.
We reconvene the city council. Action items not requiring a public hearing. Approval of resolution 24-25 regarding end-of-year certification of city street superintendent.
This is action to basically say that as the city council, you agree that our street superintendent did the job that they were supposed to do this year. And,
I will resoundingly make that motion.
I will second.
Okay, roll call.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas,
Yes.
Raffle,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Okay, item 2, possible action to ratify and approve the uniform purchase agreement for the purpose of lot 10, west half of lot 11, blocks 167, county addition, Wahoo, Saunders County, and to authorize the mayor to take all necessary action connected with the inspection, financing, title work, and closing for the purchase of the aforementioned property.
in case you want to go.
This authorizes us to purchase property that was discussed last.
And as you saw, that the purchase agreement's already been signed, but there's a contingency for council approval, having to ratify it. So that you're approving that that contingency has been met, and that you agree with Stu and Ryan's negotiations on this.
And I think some of the negotiation, one of the contingencies also is an inspection of the property, so. And I did ask on the possession, and seller's pretty firm on that. He still has some use of that building. He does not want to vacate until January 31st. Which I think is fine with us.
January 31st.
Yeah.
I mean, that's within a time frame of our normal purchase. I mean.
Yeah.
That's a normal transaction.
Mhm.
Pretty good number there, Stu.
It seems like a decent number, and I think, you know, when through home real estate, Kurt and Tim, they did split as realtors. One was representing seller, one was representing buyer, and I think they did a pretty nice job communicating back and forth. So it worked out pretty nice, I think.
Yeah.
What's your action to ratify?
I would make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Creachy,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Raffle,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Number 5, closed session for the protection of the public interest to undergo strategy session with respect to real estate. I would like someone to make a motion to go into closed session.
What are we doing?
And to invite certainly Jerry, Melissa, and myself,
And Ryan has been
and
on.
Ryan wants to, yeah.
You need to leave, that's fine.
I just gotta pick up kids from wrestling in 15 minutes, so if we can,
I
I don't know,
don't know if we'll go that quickly. So.
I'm gonna take off,
Yeah.
I trust you guys.
Okay.
Don't mute my
So
knowledge.
I make a motion we enter into closed session and invite Melissa, Jerry, Christina, and Jobin to attend
For the,
For the protection of the public.
for the protection of the public.
With respect to real estate.
Was there a second?
I'll write that.
Raffle,
Yes.
Nagel,
Yes.
Creachy,
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Now-
We're in closed session.
Are we?
Jerry, you're supposed to repeat, just to be clear, you're supposed to repeat that we are now going into closed session.
Okay. Another formality, get to that. We are going into closed session for the protection of public interest to undergo strategy session with respect to real estate.
Okay, the recording is off, and I'm gonna
And then you
stop
stop.
streaming too.